Min woke late and skipped breakfast once again. He carried only coffee onto the crowded bus. At work, the numbers started blurring before him. Lan noticed Min rubbing his temples between meetings. She quietly offered sliced bananas and grain crackers. Min laughed and said coffee was faster than breakfast. By 10 o'clock, his stomach growled louder than printers. A small mistake nearly damaged yesterday's sales report. Lan led Min outside before dizziness fully arrived. She handed yogurt, nuts, and ripe strawberries. Slow sweetness helped his mind feel steady again. Lan said empty mornings always borrow afternoon energy. During lunch, she sketched a balanced breakfast on tissue. Grains, protein, fruit, and water suddenly felt manageable. Lan warned pastries disappear fast, but crashes remain. Min remembered the noodle soup his mother cooked. That night, he found oats hidden behind instant noodles. Bananas, eggs, and milk were waiting inside. Min prepared overnight oats before going to sleep. Next morning, breakfast was already waiting beside coffee. He ate slowly while dawn touched nearby balconies. The familiar bus ride felt steadier with food inside. At work, Min's mind opened like cleaned windows. Lan still watched his afternoon choices carefully. The frosted donuts in the break room tempted him again. Min chose half a donut with an apple. The afternoon passed without the usual energy crash. One overslept Tuesday nearly pulled him backward. A note on the fridge said tomorrow needs fuel. Min made toast and eggs within a few minutes. He packed extra slices for the commute ahead. Another coworker skipped breakfast and borrowed headache tablets. Min recognized his older self in that moment. He shared toast and quietly told his story. That weekend, Min visited his mother early. She laughed seeing him carry oats and fruit. They cooked corn, eggs, and warm soup together. His mother said breakfast is kindness before stress. Those words stayed longer than the meal itself. A rainy Monday delayed buses and irritated everyone. Min remained calm because he had already eaten. He solved a client problem before noon arrived. His manager praised the report's clarity and structure. Lan smiled and said real fuel changes everything. Month-end deadlines shortened Min's sleep once again. He almost skipped breakfast to save 10 minutes. Instead, Min boiled eggs before opening emails. That small choice protected the rhythm of day. Lan showed more portable breakfasts for rushed mornings. Peanut butter sandwiches suited crowded commuting mornings. Overnight oats handled storms, delays, and oversleeping. Gradually, Min stopped calling breakfast inconvenient. He started seeing it as the day's first repair. Weeks later, an intern fainted before presentation practice. Water and snacks arrived amid the awkward crowd. Min immediately recognized the pattern of empty mornings. He decided to create a small breakfast corner. Oats, nuts, dried fruit, and a kettle appeared. Lan added illustrated cards with balanced combinations. Soon, coworkers chatted over food instead of complaints. Min noticed his afternoons needed less emergency sugar. Cravings softened when mornings began with real food. Even his sleep improved after fewer caffeine rescues. At dinner, Min described mornings as foundations. His father nodded and packed oranges for him. Winter arrived with colder kitchens and darker dawns. Old laziness whispered that coffee alone was enough. Min answered by placing oats beside his keys. He packed fruit before sleep and trusted tomorrow. Dawn no longer felt like an enemy invasion. It felt like a room he could enter. Lan eventually moved to another department nearby. Before leaving, she gave Min a small thermos. A handwritten note waited beneath the lid. Feed mornings kindly and afternoons repay the favor. Min kept that gift beside his keyboard daily. Whenever deadlines tightened, he remembered trembling hands. He also remembered oats, fruit, and steady thinking. New employees began copying Min's morning routine. Nobody called breakfast old-fashioned anymore. They called it preparation wearing an ordinary face. On difficult mornings, Min still heard Lan's lesson. An empty start always collects interest by evening. So he toasted bread, poured water, and paused. The first bite always settled the coming day. Some rescues begin very quietly in everyday life. They only need a kitchen window and choice. Min's breakfast remained simple as ever. Yet what it saved for him felt enormous. From then on, he stopped losing his mornings. Min slowly began treating breakfast as daily routine. Lan could see the change without many explanations. The body answered with steady energy week after week. The thermos became a familiar reminder every morning. A small habit ended up protecting many larger things. Min did not need perfection, only steadier repetition. Busy days still arrived, but they no longer swept everything. The lesson stayed practical because it started very small. People nearby slowly learned from that new rhythm too. Min understood that self-care was never selfish at all. The change stayed quiet, yet afternoon results showed it. Life looked similar, but moving through it felt different. Breakfast made long days feel less depleted than before. Even Min's mood grew lighter with that routine. Lan smiled because the advice had finally settled. Inside familiar rooms, a healthier rhythm started forming. Min began trusting small improvements that actually lasted. From one difficult moment, a life skill had appeared. It was not magic, only better understanding of the body. Each repeated habit made the results steadier and stronger. The thermos now worked like an extension of memory. Min stopped waiting for major trouble before adjusting. The new habit returned time instead of consuming it. Breakfast slowly became a support point within ordinary days. From then on, healthier choices felt easier and more natural. One person changed first, then the whole mood shifted. The most important lesson was hearing early body signals. Min kept that useful lesson like a private tool. What looked small was enough to redirect a day. After that, the old story ended with a better habit.
Min began editing at 9 at night and believed he needed only one more hour. A phone notification pulled him into an endless stream of short videos. A cup of coffee bought after dinner still sat on his desk. Bright ceiling lights made the room feel like daytime near midnight. Min worked until 1 in the morning because his sleepiness had temporarily faded. The alarm rang at 6:30, only a few hours after he closed his eyes. He woke with a heavy head, slow reactions, and repeated the snooze button. Min blamed work without seeing the role of his evening habits. In a meeting, he forgot a detail mentioned less than 5 minutes earlier. A simple question made Min more irritable than the situation deserved. On the weekend, he slept until noon trying to repay several short nights. But on Sunday night, his body did not want to sleep on schedule. Lan from his team noticed the cycle and asked how many hours he usually slept. Adults are generally recommended to get at least 7 hours of sleep each day. Consistent sleep and wake times help the body clock predict when rest is needed. A quiet, dark, cool, and comfortable bedroom also supports sleep. Turning off electronic devices at least 30 minutes before bed is a practical step. Caffeine late in the day or evening can make falling asleep more difficult. Large meals and alcohol near bedtime can also disturb sleep quality. Daytime activity and morning light help strengthen the sleep-wake rhythm. Min chose a fixed wake time because it was the easiest anchor to control. He stepped onto the balcony for morning light instead of opening his phone. At night, the phone charged outside the bedroom with notifications silenced. Min dimmed the home lights about an hour before bedtime. He replaced short videos with a paper book and a few minutes of preparation. The goal was not forcing sleep, but giving the body repeated cues. Min turned the clock away so he would not check every passing minute. He kept the room cool, reduced noise, and blocked street light with curtains. On the first night, Min still tossed and turned and thought the plan had failed. Lan reminded him that a months-long habit rarely changes in one night. Min still got up at the planned time instead of sleeping until noon. He avoided a long nap and did not sleep late in the afternoon. By the third day, natural sleepiness appeared closer to bedtime. In the morning, he remembered the meeting better and needed less coffee. The next weekend, Min changed his sleep and wake times only slightly. A late social invitation forced him to choose between perfection and flexibility. He joined for a while, left earlier than usual, and did not blame himself. One late night did not destroy the routine when he returned to schedule. Min did not sleep away the entire day, because that could disrupt the next night. Consistency mattered more than making every night perfectly controlled. A stressful week carried work thoughts into Min's bed. He wrote tomorrow's tasks on paper so his mind did not hold them all night. A few minutes of slow breathing helped him shift from work toward rest. Min kept relaxation simple instead of turning it into a complicated ritual. When neighbors were noisy, he used earplugs and closed the window instead of playing videos. The next morning, natural light again marked the start of the day. A short lunchtime walk gave Min activity without exercising near bedtime. He moved his final coffee to before noon. Min watched his energy instead of consuming caffeine automatically. If he needed a nap, he kept it brief and not too late. A rainy day made the apartment dark and tempted him to stay in bed. Min opened the curtains, moved gently, and began the day near his usual time. During a work trip, a new time zone and hotel room challenged his routine. He brought earplugs and eye mask and kept his familiar pre-sleep sequence. Bedtime was not identical to home, but familiar cues helped his body adapt. Min understood that travel required flexibility rather than minute-by-minute control. Lan warned that loud snoring with pauses or gasping should be medically evaluated. Persistent insomnia, severe daytime sleepiness, or impaired function also deserves professional help. Min did not self-medicate with sleep products based on an advertisement. He knew poor sleep can have causes that require medical assessment. One evening after work, Min realized he was too sleepy to drive safely. He called a ride and asked a friend to collect the car the next day. Sleepiness affects not only productivity but also reaction time and judgment. Safety became a stronger reason than any productivity goal. After 1 month, Min's sleep schedule was imperfect but clearly more stable. He woke near the same time without repeatedly snoozing. Morning light, walking, and regular meals gave rhythm to the day. Coffee became something to enjoy rather than a crutch for staying awake. In the evening, the large screen turned off before Min entered the bedroom. The phone stayed outside and no longer glowed beside his pillow. A thin book replaced endless scrolling. Curtains closed, lights dimmed, and the room became quiet. Min allowed enough time in his schedule for at least 7 hours of sleep. In the morning, he often woke before the alarm made its first sound. Not every night was easy, but he knew how to return to the routine. Better sleep grew from repeated small choices, not one secret trick. He stopped treating all-night work as proof of dedication. Evening boundaries made the next day safer and more effective. Min understood that rest is a biological need, not a reward after work. That night, the screen went dark on time and the room finally entered the night. Nam opened his computer at 8 and sat down to finish a major project. 3 hours passed while he barely left the chair. Lunch was placed beside the desk so Nam could keep working without interruption. By early afternoon, his back and shoulders began to feel stiff. Despite being inactive, Nam felt more tired and less focused. His phone showed very few steps since waking. Nam told himself he would exercise hard on the weekend to compensate. The chair seemed to hold him longer than any task required. In the afternoon, Nam sat through 2 more online meetings. His neck moved forward and shoulders rose whenever he felt tense. Thu from his team suggested standing during a 5-minute break. Nam walked to the window, rolled his shoulders, and circled the room. Even a short movement break made his body less sluggish and mind clearer. It did not replace exercise, but showed that continuous sitting was not the only option. Physical activity guidance encourages adults to move more and sit less throughout the day. Any appropriate amount of movement is better than none. For substantial benefits, adults should aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate activity weekly. Muscle strengthening activities for major muscle groups are also recommended on 2 days weekly. Nam decided to begin with small pieces instead of an exhausting plan. He understood that the weekly goal did not need to happen in one session. Nam set periodic standing reminders without imposing one rigid interval every day. During breaks, he changed position, stretched gently, and walked for water. He chose stairs for a few floors instead of always using the elevator. Listening-only calls became walks around the hallway. His water bottle was placed away from the desk, so he had to stand. At lunch, Nam walked for 10 minutes instead of eating at the screen. He adjusted the monitor near eye level and moved the keyboard comfortably. The desk supported his forearms so his shoulders did not stay raised. Both feet rested firmly on the floor or a low support. Nam relaxed his shoulders and stopped forcing one rigid posture for hours. No single perfect posture can replace changing positions. The body generally prefers movement over being locked in one shape. Thu started a team challenge to add a few minutes of movement each day. Nam began with 5-minute walks between work blocks. Small bouts accumulated into a meaningful total by week's end. He tried brisk walking that raised his breathing while still allowing conversation. Twice weekly, Nam added gentle squats, wall push-ups, and resistance band pulls. He trained within his ability, rested between sets, and did not chase pain. Activity increased gradually as his body adapted instead of jumping to a large load. The new plan was designed to survive after initial excitement faded. Heavy rain prevented Nam from walking outside one day. He played music and walked around the apartment while cleaning. Cleaning, carrying items, and climbing stairs also contributed activity. Nam realized that movement exists beyond a gym. On the weekend, he took a longer walk with friends and enjoyed being outdoors. Excited by progress, Nam increased distance faster than his body was used to. The next morning, sore muscles made him fear he had done everything wrong. Thu reminded him to rest appropriately, move gently, and progress gradually. Sharp, persistent, or unusual pain should be evaluated by a health professional. People with chronic conditions or limitations should ask about activities suited to their abilities. A 2-hour meeting appeared during the busiest week. Nam suggested a short midpoint break to stand and change position. During listening sections, several people turned off cameras and walked gently. The change did not disrupt the meeting and helped people return more alert. The team met the deadline without sitting motionless from morning to night. Nam found that short walks helped him transition between tasks more clearly. Regular activity can support sleep and mood, but it is not a cure for everything. Meals, rest, stress, and health conditions still matter. Movement is part of living, not a punishment for the body. During a work flight, Nam again had to sit for a long time. When safe and permitted, he stood and took a few steps in the aisle. In his seat, Nam flexed his ankles and changed position periodically. On a car trip, the group stopped to walk instead of driving continuously. At the hotel, Nam used stairs for short trips and explored the neighborhood on foot. He did not turn every trip into a perfect workout, but found practical opportunities. At week's end, Nam reviewed total activity instead of counting only steps. He passed 150 minutes through many smaller bouts. 2 muscle strengthening sessions stayed brief but consistent. More importantly, he spent less time sitting continuously during workdays. Afternoon energy felt steadier and his back was less stiff after work. Nam no longer believed one weekend workout could repair the whole week. The morning began with a short walk before opening the computer. Lunch happened away from the desk and included a few minutes of walking. Evening activity could be strength work, housework, or a walk with friends. Rest days remained so the body could recover and the plan stayed manageable. Small changes lasted longer than a brief burst of motivation. He chose activities he enjoyed so movement would not become a heavy obligation. Nam understood the goal was a more active life, not constant limit pushing. The chair remained, but it no longer controlled the rhythm of his life. At day's end, Nam left the desk and walked outside while sunlight remained. The hot morning began when Lynn rushed outside and left her water bottle on the table. She bought only a large coffee and squeezed onto a crowded bus. Sunlight through the windows made the bus feel hot and airless. Lynn felt thirsty but told herself she could wait until lunch. During the first meeting, a dull headache began to appear. Her mouth felt dry, her voice roughened, and concentration became harder. In the restroom, Lynn noticed that her urine looked darker than usual. But she blamed the computer screen and kept working. Her coworker Hui placed water beside her and asked what she had drunk that morning. Lin took several small sips and realized she had ignored thirst for too long. Water helps regulate temperature, carry nutrients, and support normal body functions. That does not mean everyone needs exactly the same amount of water each day. Needs vary with body size, weather, activity, pregnancy, illness, and diet. Some water also comes from food and other suitable beverages. But heat and activity increase water loss through sweat. Linge decided to drink regularly instead of waiting until she felt exhausted. She cleaned her bottle, filled it with safe water, and placed it beside the monitor. Lin linked drinking water to familiar moments such as waking, meals, and breaks. The bottle stayed visible as a reminder without obsessive tracking. For variety, she added lemon slices instead of choosing a heavily sweetened drink. The next morning, Linge drank water with breakfast before leaving home. She carried the bottle on the bus and sipped throughout the ride. She did not force down a huge amount at once to compensate for the morning. Lighter urine can be a useful clue, but it is not a perfect measurement. At noon, Lin walked outside while the temperature remained high. Sweat appeared quickly, reminding her that the body was losing water and salts. She drank more water, rested in shade, and slowed down instead of pushing through. The goal was steady replacement, not excessive drinking in a short time. Headache, nausea, dizziness, weakness, and intense thirst can signal heat exhaustion. Confusion, fainting, or very high body temperature should be treated as an emergency. Hai noted that some people with heart or kidney conditions may be told to limit fluids. Personal medical guidance matters more than a universal number found online. The team began replacing one daily soda with plain water. They placed a water pitcher near the break area to make the healthy choice convenient. Lin ate water-rich fruit, but new food did not replace all drinking needs. A bowl of soup at lunch also contributed fluid to the day's total. After several days, her afternoon headaches appeared less often. She felt more alert, but did not treat water as a cure for every problem. Sleep, meals, and stress could still affect energy and concentration. Healthy habits work best when they support one another. Another morning, Lin forgot the bottle again while handling an urgent call. Instead of giving up, she used a cup at the office water station. She set gentle reminders for mid-morning and mid-afternoon. The reminders supported the habit without turning hydration into a competition. Before going outside, Lin checked the temperature and carried water for the trip. She drank before the trip, during a break, and again after returning. When she felt unusually hot, she sought shade instead of relying only on water. Rest and cooling are important parts of preventing heat illness. Lynn shared her experience with her mother without imposing the same liter target. Older adults may feel thirst less clearly and need extra attention during hot weather. Each person should consider thirst, activity, weather, and personal medical guidance. The 8-glass rule is memorable, but it is not an exact requirement for everyone. Plain water is often the simplest choice, while heavily sweetened drinks should be limited. In the evening, Lynn drank enough without chasing a large target just before bed. She learned that balance was better than swinging from too little to too much. One afternoon, a power outage stopped the office air conditioning. The temperature rose quickly, and the team moved to a better ventilated area. They shared water, reduced activity, and watched one another for warning signs. Lynn understood that drinking water was only one part of a heat response plan. A coworker suddenly became dizzy, weak, and nauseated after moving equipment. The team stopped work, moved him to a cool place, and loosened his jacket. They offered small sips only while he was alert and able to swallow safely. When symptoms did not improve quickly, they called for medical help instead of waiting. Afterward, Lynn built a simple routine she could maintain long-term. She cleaned the bottle regularly so water did not collect odors or residue. She used safe water sources and did not share the bottle mouthpiece. Thirst, dry mouth, fatigue, and darker urine became signals she knew to notice. Each morning, a glass of water appeared beside breakfast instead of being forgotten. Lynn no longer waited for a headache before remembering to drink. She chose water with lunch while still enjoying other drinks reasonably. During heat forecasts, she carried extra water and planned cooling breaks. Thirst became a useful reminder instead of something to ignore. Lynn explained that no single perfect number fits every body. The key is regular drinking, awareness of conditions, and help for severe symptoms. Lynn also understood that water cannot replace meals or medical treatment during illness. If vomiting or diarrhea persisted, she would ask a health professional about appropriate rehydration. At day's end, some water remained because she did not force herself to finish it. She went home alert, knowing a small habit could prevent a difficult day. Lynn's story was not about drinking the most, but drinking sensibly at the right times. The next morning, the bottle stood beside her keys so it would not be forgotten. Mai left the train after holding rails, using a ticket machine, and checking her phone. She entered an elevator and pressed a button used by many other people. On the way to the office, Mai unconsciously brushed her hair and touched her face. With no visible dirt, her hands still looked completely clean. That day, Mai was responsible for cutting fruit for the team meal. She opened the food box and reached for a knife after putting down her phone. Her coworker Fuck asked whether she had washed before preparing the food. The question made Mai reconsider the invisible trail her hands had traveled. Germs are too small to see, and not every microorganism causes illness. But hands can transfer harmful germs from surfaces to the face or food. Proper hand washing reduces germs and chemicals carried on the skin. The timing of hand washing matters as much as the technique. Mai wet her hands under clean running water and applied soap. She rubbed her palms together until they were covered in lather. She spread the lather over the backs, thumbs, and spaces between fingers. Mai scrubbed beneath her nails where debris is easily missed. She kept scrubbing for at least 20 seconds instead of rinsing quickly. Then Mai rinsed the soap away under clean running water. She dried with a clean paper towel before returning to food preparation. 5 simple steps work better than merely dipping hands in water. Mai used a short tune to estimate 20 seconds without watching a clock. Water does not need to be very hot because soap and scrubbing are what matter. Drying matters because wet hands can transfer germs more easily. Mai washed before eating and before preparing food for other people. She washed after using the restroom and after handling trash. She also cleaned her hands after coughing, sneezing, or blowing her nose. Animals, raw food, and caring for someone sick are other important times. A healthy habit focuses on key moments instead of fearing every surface. When soap and water are unavailable, sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol can help. Sanitizer does not clean visibly dirty or greasy hands well. Fook noticed that Mai often missed her thumbs when washing quickly. She returned to the sink and cleaned every area again. Another coworker rinsed briefly before reaching for fruit. Mai explained that soap helps lift oils, soil, and germs from skin. Regular soap works well for everyday hand washing in community settings. The important part is covering all areas and scrubbing long enough. Mai removed a large ring before food preparation to clean around the finger. She dried completely before wearing food handling gloves as required. Excessive washing with harsh products can irritate and crack the skin. Mai used fragrance-free moisturizer after work to protect her skin barrier. The team meal began as everyone served food from the table. Someone coughed into a palm and reached for the shared serving spoon. Fook calmly pointed toward the sink and replaced the spoon with a clean one. The coworker washed without being judged or embarrassed. Mai used serving tongs to reduce direct contact with ready-to-eat food. Phones stayed away from the food table because they travel everywhere with hands. After checking a message, Mai washed before returning to the fruit. A visiting child asked why washing mattered when no mud was visible. Mai used glitter to demonstrate how tiny particles spread between hands. One handshake moved glitter onto cups, phones, and the door handle. The lesson was not to fear the world, but to understand routes of spread. Washing at the right moments interrupts many simple routes of transmission. During an outing, the group's sanitizer bottle unexpectedly ran empty. Mai found a nearby restroom with water and soap. The group waited a few minutes to wash before opening the food. A short delay was safer than pretending their hands were clean. Where no sink was available, they used sanitizer with an appropriate alcohol level. Everyone rubbed sanitizer over all hand surfaces until dry. Adults supervised children and kept the bottle away from flames. Sanitizer is a backup option, not a replacement for every hand wash. The next week, a coworker developed vomiting and diarrhea from a stomach infection. The team was reminded that soap and water are especially important for some germs. Shared surfaces were cleaned according to workplace guidance. The sick coworker stayed home and avoided preparing food for others. Hand washing reduces risk but does not create a perfect shield. At home, Mai washed before cooking dinner for her family. She did not rush to the sink after touching every ordinary object. Instead, Mai remembered key moments involving food, toilets, illness, and contamination. Balance made the habit effective and sustainable. The next day, Mai prepared fruit without needing a reminder. She wet, lathered, scrubbed, rinsed, and dried in the same sequence. The office made hand washing a normal part of the daily routine. Rushed mistakes became less common because people allowed time for each step. Soap lather covered backs, finger spaces, and areas around the nails. 20 seconds is brief, but it changes the quality of a hand wash. Clean hands protect the washer and other people sharing the space. The goal is not perfect sterility, but reducing transmission at key moments. Mai reminded everyone that good hand washing is best taught calmly and respectfully. Mai looked at the colorful table and saw a small habit protecting the group. Lunch ended with empty plates and hands that had been washed correctly, and returned home late with sweet pastries and a sugary drink. She ate while watching a film and set the toothbrush aside because she felt tired. The next morning, a back tooth gave a small twinge when it drank cold water. The feeling faded quickly, so she decided to ignore it. At work, and added sugar to coffee and ate candy across several hours. Each snack created another period of sugar exposure in the mouth. A soft plaque film formed on teeth even though it was hard to see. The tooth only whispered, but the process inside continued. Bacteria and plaque use sugars and produce acids. Repeated acid attacks can remove minerals from tooth enamel. Saliva helps neutralize acids and return minerals to the tooth surface. Frequent sugary eating or drinking gives teeth less time to recover. Brushing twice daily with fluoride toothpaste is a foundation of cavity prevention. Cleaning between teeth regularly removes plaque where a toothbrush may not reach. Routine dental visits can detect problems before pain becomes severe. And decided to listen to the small warning instead of waiting for major pain. That evening, she used a soft bristled brush and fluoride toothpaste. And brushed gently instead of pressing hard to clean faster. She cleaned outer, inner, and chewing surfaces across the mouth. The bristles angled gently toward the gum line to reach commonly missed plaque. Night brushing became the final step before Anne went to sleep. In the morning, she brushed again to begin with a clean mouth. And used floss or another suitable interdental cleaner once daily. She guided floss gently around each tooth instead of snapping into the gums. A few gum areas bled lightly because they had often been neglected. Persistent bleeding, swelling, or pain is a reason to consult a dentist. Fluoride can slow decay and help reverse very early mineral loss. Once a cavity forms, the tooth usually needs dental treatment. Tooth pain is a signal for evaluation, not something to simply mask. Home tricks cannot replace finding the cause of dental pain. And booked a dental appointment instead of waiting until she could not eat. The dentist examined her teeth, gums, bite, and eating habits. An early area of decay and plaque between teeth were identified. The dentist cleaned her teeth and gave care instructions suited to her situation. Fluoride toothpaste was explained as a prevention tool, not a magic cure. And learned that sugar frequency matters, not only the amount eaten at once. She replaced the sugary desk drink with plain water most of the time. After snacks, and drank water and allowed time between eating periods. Whole fruit, unsweetened yogurt, and nuts became more common choices. She limited grazing on candy and sugary drinks throughout the afternoon. Her desk drawer no longer overflowed with sweets during stressful moments. A water bottle appeared beside the computer instead of a soda can. And prepared small portions of fruit and nuts to reduce mindless snacking. She still enjoyed dessert without stretching it into hours of sugar exposure. One tired evening, and again wanted to skip brushing. She kept the brush ready beside the sink to reduce effort. A floss holder made interdental cleaning easier for her. And moved gently and stopped if a gum area felt unusually painful. The old brush was replaced when its bristles became frayed. She chose a brush head that could comfortably reach the back teeth. And gently cleaned her tongue where bacteria and food debris can collect. Morning breath improved, but it was not the only measure of oral health. Mouthwash was not used as a replacement for brushing and interdental cleaning. If she needed an additional product, Anne would choose it with dental advice. A friend sent Anne a whitening trick using lemon and an abrasive powder. She refused because acids and abrasives can damage tooth surfaces. Anne asked the dentist about tooth color instead of trying an online recipe. Cosmetic choices should not sacrifice enamel or gum health. Sensitivity still appeared occasionally, so Anne noted when and why it happened. When the symptom persisted, she returned for examination. On a work trip, and packed a brush, fluoride toothpaste, and interdental cleaner. The schedule changed, but twice daily brushing remained a fixed anchor. She did not skip night brushing simply because she had rinsed after dinner. The routine stayed simple enough for home, office, and hotels. Dental visits followed the interval recommended for her individual needs. Each visit was a chance to check teeth, gums, and adjust habits. And understood that smoking also increases gum disease risk and harms oral health. She encouraged a relative to seek quitting support instead of only masking breath. After a month, the tooth no longer twinged when drank cold water. The clean feeling came from consistent technique, not aggressive scrubbing. Her gums bled less as plaque between teeth was cleaned regularly. And understood that early care is usually simpler than waiting for severe pain. She did not panic at every sensation, but she did not ignore it either. Oral prevention is built from small actions repeated each day. 2 fluoride brushings formed the main structure of the routine. cleaning between teeth-covered areas a brush could not reach. Sensible eating and fewer sugar exposures gave teeth time to recover. Routine visits and persistent symptom care kept small problems from becoming large. And smiled because she understood that oral care is part of everyday overall health. That night, and put down the toothbrush and no longer heard the tooth whisper.